Someone sent this question into the ministry, and I'd like to take a moment to answer. The question is this: I would like to know if it's okay for Christians to be drinking. When I ask some Christians about it, their response is that Jesus drank wine, so it's okay. I myself don't drink and haven't for several years because of the negative consequences and effects to me, my siblings, my home life, and family. I quit drinking long before I became a Christian, but now more than ever, I see Christians taking up drinking, social or otherwise, and try to convince me that it's okay. Well, that's a question that impacts just about all of us in one way or another, because all of us probably hold pretty strongly felt opinions on one side of that question or the other. Let me take you through the progression in my life of dealing with the question of alcohol. Of course, especially in my earlier years in ministry, I was very adamant, very outspoken against consumption of alcohol on any level. And a lot of that related to the fact that my biology and my personality in my younger years were not conducive to drinking. And I became convinced as the Lord took His place in my life that it wasn't something I should yield myself to. And because of the effect that I saw it clearly had on me, I couldn't imagine anyone wanting to drink alcohol. And of course, you know, as time passes, and I've become aware of even other ministers that, you know, might have a glass of wine at dinner and seem to be okay with that. I guess I became less judgmental. And here's my approach to you. This leaves a very narrow corridor for alcohol consumption, but it's something that every person has to consider. Number one, if alcohol affects you at all, if you drink at all to get the buzz or the high or the feeling even of relaxation, I've heard people say that, well, it just helps me relax, then you shouldn't be drinking. The motive is wrong. The Lord is to be your rest, your habitation. He's the one that is to enable you to get rid of the cares of your day, not alcohol. So if you drink for the effect at all, you should not be drinking. And that eliminates most people. I suppose there are some that enjoy a glass during meals of wine, perhaps, because it highlights or accents flavors, or so I've heard. And if that's genuine, and you could care less about, you know, any of the effect that alcohol might have, then okay, I'll cut you a little slack. But be sure you don't do it in front of somebody else that is going to do it for the wrong reason. That's what is called being a stumbling block. And that's why I think this leaves a very small margin for drinking. Most people who consume alcohol do so for the feeling it gives them, not just because of the connoisseur's taste of a fine wine. Now, I agree there are probably some of those, and you know, it's not up to me to decide that. It's the Lord you're dealing with. So don't try to fake me out about whether or not your motive is okay and you're not doing it because you feel something. I could care less. But you got to settle that issue with the Lord, because if you don't, alcohol will become a wide open door to the enemy of your soul to destroy your life. And even if you can drink for the right motivation, meaning not for what it does for you, and somebody else sees you as a believer consuming alcohol and assumes it's okay for them to consume it too, this is becoming a stumbling block and they can't handle it, then, you know, you have become responsible for the enemy accessing their life. And so these are things you need to consider. I mean, can you actually consume alcohol in a void, a social void, without anybody else knowing you're doing it? I don't know. Or can you consume a beverage with alcohol in it with no regard, no motivation at all to what it does for you? It relaxes you, helps you sleep, gives you a little bit of a better outlook on life. Those are things the Lord should be doing, not alcohol. These are things you have to settle for yourself. Be honest about it, because there's a lot at stake. Thank you for allowing me to answer this question.